This is Caleb Lancaster here again with Pastor Ayers. We're coming to you with the next installment of the Big Five. And today's topic is one that I think we can all relate to, and it is 5 characteristics of a selfish person. And I think this is meant really to help us self-evaluate a little bit, because we can always point at other people, but I think we'll see a lot of these characteristics probably are present in our own lives.
Sure. I mean, I don't know about you, but how many people go up and says, "Hey, I'm really selfish"? I mean, nobody really admits it, or maybe they don't understand. And I think as we look through these characteristics today, Caleb, we will find that, this is us. This is the finger points back at us. But let's go through this list of 5 characteristics of a selfish person, and I want you and the audience and to really let this home in on yourself. What of these 5 areas are pointing at you?
Good. So the first one is, you might be a selfish person if you very rarely, if ever, ask for forgiveness. Either that or it's always somebody else's fault, one or the other.
Sure. It's always somebody else's fault. Blame somebody else. And, the Bible says in James, I believe, chapter 5, verse number 16, we're to confess our faults one to another. Think about it. I had a time where I had to go to my children and say, I'm sorry for a certain event that happened in their life. How many dads, how many moms, how many adults have had the humility, I think, to, admit they're wrong and ask for forgiveness?
Yeah, and that's so important that we need to do that, to be able to acknowledge when we're wrong and to ask forgiveness. And that brings us to our second point, which really reminds me of a kindergarten report card. And that is, you may be a selfish person if you really have trouble working with others.
Sure. Think about this. Is there always drama in the air? You're constantly wanting to get your way. You have a chip on your shoulder and people walking on eggshells when they're around you. You know what? That's a good sign that you're selfish if you can't work with others. Somebody said to me one time, well, I'm just an individual man. I work by myself. No, you're not. We all need to have relationships. And that's a sorry excuse for saying that you're selfish.
Good. Yes, if we had to give you a kindergarten report card on the plays well with others, I wonder what letter we would get for that one, right? So, good. And the third one is you may be a selfish person if you don't take other people into account when you make your decisions, or you make decisions without considering how this decision is going to affect other people.
Sure. I believe Hebrews chapter 10 says, let us consider one another and provoke unto love and to good works. Now, here's the characteristic I think that defines selfish people. They really don't believe this is affecting others negatively. They don't even consider it. And, how it inconveniences others, because when you're selfish, it really is about your schedule, your time, your money, your event, your emotions. And, everybody else just get out of the way. It's all about me. And I think that's a classic characteristic of a selfish person.
Yeah, and that goes right along with the next one, and that is that you never or almost never sacrifice or serve other people.
Sure. Think about yourself, and I want everybody to do some self-evaluation here. Are you known as a servant? I had someone in our church the other day that said, and she is a sweet servant, and she is. She goes, God's given me a servant spirit, but I would tend to disagree. Not that she's not a servant, but God has given us all the ability to serve. And I think too many of us, want to be served. And a selfish person is very rarely will you find them doing anything to help out anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's good. And of course, this one also goes along with it. And the last one is that you may be a selfish person if other people always have to work around your schedule.
Yeah, think about this. I believe one of the most selfish things a person can do is be known to being late for everything. Because when you're late, it puts everybody else, it inconveniences everybody else. If you're constantly late, what you're saying, maybe not verbally or audibly, you're saying, I'm just going to inconvenience everybody. I'm going to barge in late to class. I'm going to barge in late to church. I'm going to make you wait for me. And that is really, I think, the epitome of selfishness. What it does, it demands others to work around your schedule. And we're all guilty of that. But I think some are more guilty than others.
Yeah, it really says that, my time is more important than your time or this group of people's time in some cases. And so that's I think that's important. So a good one for us to all self-evaluate. I know some of these certainly hit me, and I hope that they're helpful to you as well. And we'll come to you again next week with another installment of The Big Five.